Kol Haloyum La Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah Bahashem Rakakwadash. I want to give a double honors to the apostles and elders that prophesied and rule well for the hopeful 144 and one third of Yasharallah, who this world refers to as Israel, starting at the house of Great Millstone. Shalom to you, Akim, who teach and learn in sincerity. Shalom to the Akwith who learn in sincerity. It's your brother, Kanan, from the Sindianapolis camp. And I want to name this: you can't see or feel walls closing in on Babylon. Okay? What you see here is the Fair Use Act, copyright, applying that I am not making this video for sales purposes, only for education.
There in real time. And then, of course, I think to zoom out as to what's happening beyond our own, domestic issues is what's happening on the international scene, and it has a lot to do with the furtherance of alternatives being brought into existence bit by bit to diversify away from the dollar, which happens to be the head honcho as of now. But enough ranting. For those that are plugged in, let us know if the audio is good. If you haven't already, hit a thumbs up, show support for the channels, and then we'll jump into some headlines. And so let's just start off right away. I want to give you a chance, Mario, to talk about the epidemic underway in the UK. But feel free to share your thoughts on what's happening, my friend.
Yeah, and it's not like a health epidemic or anything. It's more to do with shoplifting, and I've entitled the live stream on my site "When Money Dies in the UK: The Shoplifting Epidemic," and I've read quite a few stories today in the major papers here, and yeah, they look at the superficial reasons, like there's not enough police, it's gangs and stuff, but none of them look at the fact that the shoplifting, so to speak, really started back in 2009 from the top. And what do I mean by that? Well, it was the QE and the money printing, the inflation. That's inflation is.
If I may interrupt them, a lot of that shoplifting was organized government because, once again, you need flags you need things to occur to move agendas in directions when people are not compliant to, remember, order out of chaos. So if there's no chaos, then how can we push forth our order? Okay, so I just want to bring that to light.
Theft.
Yeah.
And the Bank of England, the government have been doing it for over a decade. And they've done so much of it that our currency is becoming worth less and less. And it doesn't pay for people to work. Or when people do work, they can't survive on what they earn. So they revert to buying stolen goods. And I think that's why there are gangs out there stealing a lot of stuff from the shops. The police, as well, of course, they've they're not doing their job properly. They've cut down the numbers of the police force. So it's all a mixture, but it reminds me of Brazil back in the 70s and 80s. We had a lot of petty theft and shoplifting. Yeah, because what's the point of going to work if you're not going to survive on it? And yeah, and people say, well, look at what they've been doing. They've been printing all this money. Their friends at the top are making hundreds of millions from cronyism. We're going to get involved. It's at a lower level, of course, but it's the same. And so I think that's why we have the epidemic, and it's a symptom of inflation. And I think it's going to get worse because I spoke today in my daily video that the Bank of England is already talking about stopping the rate hikes. So they're going to sacrifice, I think, the pound in order to keep the Ponzi going. So that's what's going on here.
Yeah. And so the epidemic is just not in your area. As we went before, we talked about online. California has become the epicenter in our country of just flash mobs attacking, and they had actually stores are closing now all throughout California, from what I'm reading. And then there's videos surfacing of just people ransacking grocery stores, food stores, shop. I mean, you name it. And it's like my thought is like, what do you really stand to benefit? Like, $100 here, a couple $100 at best. But then again, I understand the mindset of a good portion of our country that thinks that everything is either free or there's no punishment behind it because crime does pay. It looks like now, and they moved it from the top echelon in governments where you can get away with stuff. Now it's trickling down to the lower level to where unless it's over $1,000 or so, you can get away with it for now. But then again, this is very small in comparison to what, as you mentioned, I think is going to be coming down the line when the real pain sets in. So, but yeah, it's nothing new at all, to say the least. But let's get to some of the global events happening that the world really, for the most part, is not focusing on. And it has to do with, I think, something that's important. I'm curious to get your thoughts on it. But China has decided to open up what looks like their first branch in Saudi Arabia. And so I'm reading comments or whatnot on Twitter about this. And a lot of people were saying that, this could be the start now, or the official petro yuan eventually being utilized as an alternative, of course. But then again, they have some of the foreign ministers or whatever attending this ceremony. So in your opinion, is this something that will continue to pick up and further the de-dollarization push, or what?
Yeah, definitely. It's just like American banks, like in the old days, it was Chase Manhattan, Chemical Bank, JP Morgan. They're all over Europe. And the same thing is going to happen with the Chinese banks, like Bank of China, which is not the central bank, but it's a big commercial bank. They're going to probably open branches in other countries like Brazil, South Africa as well, United Arab Emirates. And then you're going to get other banks like ICBC and many others that I probably have not even heard of, because the more business China does with the rest of the world, the more branches they have. I mean, I was telling you there are Bank of China branches in London,
Mm-hmm.
but I think the Chinese are moving away from the West
Yeah.
slowly but surely. And you spoke about that foreign direct investment from China has slowed down into the U.S. and I expect the same to happen for the UK.
Yeah. And as you were talking, I was thinking about just how China, regardless of what their currency is doing right now, so I'll see a lot of commentators talk about, the yuan is tanking right now because the dollar on the Dixie is going through the roof and it's causing issues and all the other currencies. Okay, sure. But I'm thinking like, regardless of that, China's still moving forward with an agenda, regardless of whatever it is we're seeing or being told. And I'm thinking like, based upon this first opening of a branch, I'm thinking like the way the U.S. has spread military bases all across the world, I wouldn't be surprised if China also starts spreading commercial banks throughout the world as well to basically give other nations opportunities to get into the yuan trade settlement. So we will definitely keep an eye on that. But yeah, it's just more proof that regardless of what we're being told, they're moving forward with their agendas. And then here's another issue or possible issue as well.
Okay, that was just a little preview. So, the gist of what you're listening to is the end of spiritual Babylon, Virgin Babylon, spiritual Sodom in Egypt, who's been known for having the lead of currency off the petrodollar, which is associated to oil. It's over. It's over. It's been announced. It's happening early as this year. So where are we at right now? We're in September. So we're talking October, November. Okay. December. You take it. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 1. And Yahushua went out and departed from the temple. And his disciples came to him to show him the buildings of the temple. And Yahushua said unto them, See you not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. Okay, brick on brick on brick, stone on stone, it's gonna all be gone. And that throwing down is when them IBMs come in and torch this place along with the concentrated lasers from the chariots, Salakia. Okay, and I'm skipping down to 5 right now. Okay? Matthews 24 and 5. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. And don't we have these false prophets set up today? We got horse riders claiming that you don't even have to say the name of Hamashiach Yahweh, thinking that their status is built up. You got preachers denying the existence of Hamashiach. Yahweh Shai, saying that you can get to Yahweh or Yahusha, Yahusha, whoever they believe in, Jehovah, without the means of his son Yahweh Shai to okay to be our mediator. Okay, I wasn't gonna let that slip. So yeah, you have many deceivers in this day, teaching all sorts of things. Jacob's troubles when we rise up. Basically, about that apostle, the fake ass apostle, he watched the episode of Boondocks when we got riled up and was whooping their ass, and then he turned that and said that Jacob's trouble was that the depiction of us whooping Esau's ass. Okay, nevertheless, many false prophets. Okay, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Well, that video artist played you is suggesting that the world is changing their power shift. Now, everybody knows when the kingdom falls, it requires war. There is no peaceful transition of kingdoms. Right now, Babylon's currency has ran this world for the better part. It has, okay? And it's over. We don't have the resources, the minerals, the gold to back up who what we say. That petrodollar is only on thought and theory. I think it's worth something. Well, now they say it's worth nothing. And it's calculated it's going to be 55 to 1 exchange. Okay. We'll need $55 to attain their one. All right. Now, what can you buy with $1? You'll need 55 of them. Okay. So it's going to be some troublesome. All right. So let me finish what I was saying. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. What I'm supplying, that video that I showed you, will lead to these wars. United States is not just going to say, okay, you guys can have it. You got the power now. No, that's not how Esau works. Remember, this is the last time for him to wet that sword that he's been wetting his whole existence. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet. No, the end is not yet. Okay. For nation shall rise up against nation. Did we not just hear that? Okay. The BRICS, Africa, China, Russia, and many other nations coming together to face off against the whore and the beast. Okay. NATO. And kingdoms against kingdoms. And there shall be famine and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. The elder from North Carolina, he always goes into the earthquake Richter. I was cutting the grass the other day listening to him. We was up to 700. I believe this year. Well, no, more than that, because we had maybe it was this month, because yeah, he was saying 100 and something in one day. Okay, so we're having thousands of earthquakes going unawares because it's not news. Okay, they want to give you the bread and pony show. Okay, the circus act to keep us dumbed down. All right, so while all of these things are taking place, it told us to not worry. Well, we're paying attention. We're not worrying because we have the faith of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. A lot of you not worried just because you can't see it coming. That's why I named this, you can't see or feel walls closing in on Babylon. Okay. And all these things are the beginning of sorrows. Okay. The beginning of sorrows. I got something else for you.
Russian finance minister was just talking about the importance of needing to not only use their own currencies, but then also have something outside their own currencies to use. And of course, no official details as of yet, but they're developing, they're working, they're building some. So this adds to the whole move away from the Western hemisphere. So, but what are your thoughts on this, Mario?
Yeah, I read that story, and he reiterated that it's not like they want to form a single currency like the euro.
Mhm.
They just want some kind of a settlement currency, maybe based on commodities, and I think by that he means gold and maybe oil, natural gas. I don't know how they're going to do it, and I
Yeah.
think for them it's very difficult to come out and say exactly what they want to do because they it could be sabotaged. So
Yeah.
that's why they're being vague. And yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people out there who are still in denial, who think the dollar is going to be there as the major reserve currency forever. But there's the old saying that the sun never set on the British Empire. But eventually, by 1954, the dollar took over sterling as the major reserve currency. Most people think it was after World War II, but it took 10 years. But you know, if you go back to 1900, if you told someone in the UK, oh, in 50 years, the British pound is not going to be the major reserve currency anymore, you won't have an
What is to say? Their thoughts is their house will always continue from generation to generation. Not so.
empire, they would have laughed at you.
Yeah.
So things can happen fairly quickly. Am I saying it's going to take 50 years from now? No, I think it could accelerate because this move into the BRICS, now we're going to BRICS 11 next year, is going to just accelerate. And
Okay? So once again, you see the power struggle that's taking place between all the world right now for this so-called we got next. But here's the thing, Yasharala got next. And since we don't have a physical military or flesh ambassadors to threaten the rest of these countries, which we do have flesh ambassadors, us prophets on the highways and byways, preaching the downfall of spiritual Babylon and the rest of the heathen nations along with it. Okay? The return of Hamashiach Yahushai to all-time rulership for eternity. Okay? But they don't see it because they don't see the military other than the elites that know the Yahushai and them chariots and Yahweh and the fathership are up there. Okay? This is Second Esdras, chapter 15, starting at verse 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people, you so-called African Americans, Native Americans, and Hispanics, okay, the words of prophecy, which I will put in the mouth, saith Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. See, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is not a man that he can lie. All right? Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulities of them trouble thee that speak against thee. Now, who speaks against thee? All the nations. All 17 nations are against Jacob. Psalms 83, okay? World Economic Forum come together to destroy you. And even if you got a tiny, Oprah, she's a Eve, okay? She's 2/3. She's the enemy. She signed the contract that got us in this trouble. Okay? For sin first came through women. Behold, saith Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. And if you don't think that this Brax is going to cause this place to turn tipsy-turvy, this is taking us to World War III. And what's holding us back? The implementation of the MOTB. Okay? For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hateful works are fulfilled. Now, let me give you a little example of some of their hateful works.
Hard pass on this one. Look, unless they're about to read the Epstein client list on this thing on live air for all of us to hear, I don't want to know about it. But my question is to y'all, if they're going to do a test, y'all ever notice before they run a roller coaster, they do a test? Are they about to put us through a big roller coaster? Yeah, I think that would be a wise question to actually ask. Y'all ever been in a room, though, with a bunch of people when just a simple Amber Alert goes off? It's scary as hell. Everybody thinks they did something wrong, and the truth is, this is going to be something that is going to incite fear and a whole lot of people that don't know what's going on. We can announce this all day long, October 4th, and a lot of people still are just going to forget. A lot of people are never going to hear about it. But fear is the best method for control. We've known that since the beginning of time. Here's why I call BS on this whole alert, and I'd rather honestly take a hammer to my phone than have this thing go off on that particular day. They've already proven that they won't sound the alarms if a real emergency is going on. Maui, remember that much? We've talked about that at length here. No alarms were...
Now, I'm going to tell y'all what. Some of us was hitting on that. That 5G radiation is deadly. It's like being super close to microwaves. Now, you took that potato chip, they start beaming them rays, your ass is in trouble. That's all I'm going to say. And I don't care how many doses you took, because it was all snake poison to begin with. Okay? Back to this second Esdras. This is second Esdras 15 going down to 15. Second Esdras, yes, chapter 15, starting at 15. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another people with swords in their hand. For there shall be sedition amongst the streets, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. Who are that? Your governors and your so-called presidents. That's over, okay? And the courses of their actions shall stand in their power. Who's their power? The militias, the people of the streets, they do come together to band together to try to cause chaos. Now, we know at the end of the day, Esau and his military, his war machine is going to come and it's going to wreak havoc. And we're not just talking about Esau. We're talking about all of these other nations, well, under Esau's rulership, yes. They're going to wreak havoc. When those UN soldiers activate over here, they have no goddamn care about you. And I've been telling my brother who was in the military that they're not going to use y'all to kill us. Okay? A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to. Those 15-minute cities that they're setting up, border blocked off. On top of that, this lockdown's coming from FEMA. Okay?
Sounded that we're supposed to be the most high-tech things in the world. Now you're going to tell us that we're going to sound all the alarms? We're going to let everybody know? Bull crap. So I'm already looking for misdirection. Do y'all see the steps that are in play here? Everybody I know is still, in 2023, right now, still walking around just mentally screwed up from the lockdown, from being 2 years taken out of our lives. You can't travel, you're locked down, or you can't travel like you want to travel. That's for damn sure. Everybody is now engaging in more road rage than we've ever seen in our lives. People are throwing stuff at left fielders in MLB games. They're attacking entertainers on stage. They're losing their minds because we haven't mentally recovered for this. You send us back into another lockdown, you send us back into another bad situation, I feel like Americans, we're going to blow our tops off. One thing my granddad always used to say is a predator always salivates over his prey when he's wounded and he's limping, just like we are right now. What a brilliant time to go in for the real pain, you know? And I want to be clear here. I'm not at all in any way saying that I know something's going to happen or I feel like something's going to happen, because I can't make that statement. But I do feel like if I was a supervillain, okay, this would be the perfect time to let all hell break loose. This would also be the perfect time.
Order out of chaos.
To play a little mass formation psychosis. Y'all know my background is in psychology. That's where my brain goes every single time I...
Okay, there you go. What does that say? You read that. I don't even want to put that out there. Citizens must be locked down. Okay, and look who that is. The angel himself. The most innocent people that you could ever trust in. All right, along with his friends right here. The wicked. That's who the world is giving into. Job 9:24. Okay, this is who's bringing on through the Yahweh Bashim Yahushai's will through his left hand. This is who's laying on this wickedness. Okay, all right. This is Revelations 6, chapter 6, verse 6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts saying, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see that see thou hurt not the oil or wine. So that's going into a day's wage to survive, to eat. Okay. And once again, that's where this Brax is going. Okay. All your comfortabilities that you're used to, this lifestyle is going to be stripped away. Okay. Order out of chaos. Then they're going to force you to run to Egypt for help. Woe to them to go down to Egypt for help. See, once again, he said, if it was possible, the elect would be deceived. But we have our trust in Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, not in flesh. Okay? And when he had opened the 4th seal, I heard a voice of the 4th beast saying, come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat upon him was Death, and hell followed him. And power was given unto them over the 4th part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beast of the earth. Okay? So that's where we headed. That's where we are, but it's going to get deeper and deeper. We're not going back. Okay, there's no reversing this. I hear a lot of people speak of times being bad before, but eventually getting better. No, not this time. Okay, not this time. This is Revelation 3 and 9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say that they are Jews. And this is speaking to our people. Okay, you so-called prophets, you false prophets that take the word out of content and make the word an abomination, and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and know that I have loved thee. That's Yasharallah, okay? You 2/3, because thou hast kept the words of my patience. Now this is talking to the 1/3, starting with the 144. I also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwelleth upon the earth. Okay? Ain't no, hey, look, that dwelleth upon the earth. Now we got to go get that, right? What is that temptation that's coming that dwelleth upon the earth? Revelations 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. Let's go get that mark. Never sleep on this one. Mark. Here we go. Salakia. Don't try to come at me like that, demon. Karagma. There it go. A mark, a stamp. Implanted mark. Okay? Implanted mark, right? You gotta use something. What do they use to implant today? They use syringes, needles. Okay? Now we go. Correct. What does that say? A pail or a stake. Okay? So there we have it. This must be put underneath your skin. Okay? You can't get around that. 13. Okay, you jumped on me. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark. Okay, that stick, that implant, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name, which all goes together in one when it's being read. The barcode, the name, and the name and the number is the name. Okay, while it's reading the information, it's there. All right, but what did Yahweh Bashim Yahushua say? I will save my children from that moment. And now we're gonna go back to Revelations 3 and 11. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thee crown. Now, who is that applying to? Only the hopeful 144 and the 1/3 of Yasharallah, who's been the watchman, who's been paying attention, seeing this coming, having a fear for Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, not being partakers of Babylon. We've come up out of her mentally, okay? Disconnected from the matrix. Once again, I named this. You can't see or feel the walls closing in on Babylon, because I can. And with that, I pray that this has been edifying. Shalom.